Star Wars 7, it's out. It's in theaters. I've seen it 5 times. If you haven't seen it yet, this video is not for you because this is a spoiler Star Wars 7, The Force Awakens review. I do have a non-spoiler review. The link is in the description. If you haven't seen the movie yet, don't watch this video because I'm going to fill it with spoilers. So, without further ado, let's get started. What I think fell short. Well, first of all, let me say this. I'm not going to mention a lot of things that I said in the non-spoiler review. Please, if you haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and watch it. This is all spoilers that builds upon the non-spoiler review. So what I think fell short, and I mentioned this before, the pacing issues. So some of the pacing issues that I'm talking about specifically is, for example, when Kylo Ren is using his mind-reading powers against Rey, that scene was very long. I felt like it could have been at like 33% the length. And that kind of stuff gets a little bit of annoying because you know what's going to happen. Because I've seen the movie 5 times. And it's just like, get there already. You know, you have the audience's attention. Go ahead and throw in your twist. You know what I'm saying? On the flip side of the pacing issues, where I think it went a little too fast. These guys are just zipping through hyperspace like it's nothing. They're getting from one place to another. I haven't seen in Star Wars before where in the same scene, a ship goes into hyperspace and then comes out of hyperspace at their destination. Never seen that before. They always break into something else to kind of give you an idea of the length of space that they're traveling, the parsecs that they're going. You know what I'm saying? And parsecs is a unit of distance, not a unit of speed. Anyway, C-3PO. I've never really liked C-3PO. I don't know what it is. I just don't like him. I wasn't happy that he was hosting Star Wars in concert when I saw it a couple times. But, you know, I was able to overlook that. But specifically about this C-3PO, I thought his first line was kind of funny. You probably don't recognize me because of my red arm. But everything else just seemed kind of cheesy. And it just reminded me of how cheesy he was during the prequels. And you know what? To be honest, he's been cheesy during the entire series. C-3PO is just cheesy. I don't like him. I'm sorry. I mean, I get that he's going to have some banter with R2-D2, and sometimes that's cool. But really, when R2-D2 first woke up, they had to have C-3PO hit him because of something that R2-D2 said? Really? Because why? Because he hits him all the time? I don't get that. But whatever. I'm over it, and I'm moving on. But one of the things I want to talk about as far as technical stuff, something was most definitely wrong with C-3PO's voice. He sounded like he was talking inside of a can. Not inside of a robot. It was weird. I can't explain it, but it did not sound right. It kind of reminded me of how bad the audio was on the recorded score for Return of the Jedi. It's an amazing score, but they really messed up recording it. It's just really low quality. I don't like it. Also, his armor, his outfit, his costume Anthony Daniels' costume was 3D printed, and it kind of looks like it was 3D printed. The old C-3PO was nice and shiny. This guy was like dull and plastic. I don't know. They need to really work on that. I don't like what they did with it. Also, what I think fell short, and this is a big deal to me, Captain Phasma. What? So you're going to go get one of my favorite characters from Game of Thrones, Gwendolyn Christie, who plays Brienne of Tarth. You're going to get her, and you're going to put her in this awesome armor that you've never seen a stormtrooper in. It's all shiny. It's amazing looking. So what's the deal? I was expecting Captain Phasma to be like the next Boba Fett. This is supposed to be that one stormtrooper that sets themselves apart from all the other stormtroopers. They can think for themselves. She can aim. You're supposed to send this stormtrooper out like a bounty hunter, trying to hunt down these heroes that have escaped the Empire. And that's not at all what they did with their character. The only thing great about Captain Phasma is her acting. The people who wrote the story for Captain Phasma? That fell way short, and the way it looks, Captain Phasma is in the center of a sun, and she's not going to return, and that makes me angry. That's bogus. Suspension of belief. Here's my next topic, suspension of belief. And this is something I'm kind of teetering on. It's either or. So Rey's ability to take on Kylo Ren and how her powers are growing so fast. Now, they do a lot by saying, you know, she's been on this planet Jakku, she's been by herself, she's had to survive by herself. She's got this staff, which is very similar to sword fighting, but not really. So she should be able to have some kind of fighting skills. After all, she took on 2 people who were trying to still be BB-8 at the beginning of the movie. So that makes sense, right? And, you know, Kylo Ren, he was injured. He got shot with Chewbacca's bowcaster right in the hip. So maybe those 2 things and the fact that Kylo Ren was supposed to capture Rey instead of kill her. Maybe that helped her out. But how was she able to mind trick James Bond? And if you didn't know this, James Bond was the stormtrooper that she used her force mind trick on in her prison. Like, how was she able to do that so fast? It doesn't make any sense, but you know what? I'm going to suspend my belief because I love Star Wars so much and this movie's great. Anyway, back to what I think fell short. Leia. General Leia, Princess Leia, Leia Organa, Leia Skywalker, Leia Solo, whatever you want to call her. She is a bit of a softie, and I don't like it. The way she used to handle Han Solo back in the day, you know, for now on, I'm in charge. Would somebody get this walking carpet out of my way? You know, that kind of thing. That's not the Leia I saw. I saw a soft, old Leia. And yeah, I get it. She misses her son. And it's Leia's fault that Han Solo died. Whoa, spoiler alert. Han Solo died? But anyway, I thought Leia was a little bit of a softie. And General Hux is no Grand Moff Tarkin. It's going to be really hard for anybody to be that role. And I'm sorry to say General Hux fell a little bit short. The X-Wing fighting scenes. They were a little bit too cartoony, CGI looking. And I was fully expecting there were to be a lot more props and high detail models and all that stuff. But the X-Wing fighting scenes, they were kind of too fast paced, too much going on. Can't see what's really going on. I felt like there was frames missing, all that kind of stuff. So that's enough of what I think fell short. Let's talk about what went right. Character development. The new characters, and this is an important thing because you're trying to start this new generation of Star Wars fans with these new generation of Star Wars characters. It's the older generation passing on to the newer generation. This is something that they absolutely had to get right, and they knocked it out of the park. Let's talk about Poe. Poe Dameron is an amazing fighter. It's kind of what I've imagined Wedge Antilles would be like in the Rogue Squadron series. He is freaking awesome. And, well, you've seen the movie. That scene where... I'll talk about that later. The scene with Poe and Finn. But speaking about Finn. Finn is a big scaredy cat coward. He's a scaredy cat coward, and that's really the reason why he left the First Order. But somehow, he finds the courage to do some scary stuff to help out his friends. All he wants to do, his goal is to get as far away from the First Order as possible. But because of people he cares about, he's willing to not only not run away from the First Order, but go to their dang home planet to try and rescue his friends. And I think that is one of the best character contrasts there is around as far as what he wants to do and what he's doing. He says he's not a hero, but when you take your biggest fear and face it head on like Finn did, you're the biggest hero in the galaxy. Also, his fighting encounters were totally believable. It seems like each and every time he would get into a fight with a lightsaber or whatever he was doing, he would get overwhelmed. And he would have to count on some of his friends to bail him out. Like whether it's Rey in the last scene or Han Solo shooting that stormtrooper with Chewie's bowcaster. So they were completely believable. And it seems to me that Finn is not much of a fighter now, but it's something that he's going to be able to develop, and he's going to be like a force to be reckoned with. Now let's talk about Rey. Rey is simply amazing. Look at her life. Her whole life, she's been alone and solitary. She's had to figure out how to survive on her own. There's a scene where she's cleaning the parts that she scavenged, and she's looking at the old lady, and you can see that she's afraid that she's going to be a scavenger until she dies. And that's like a big deal to her, but she's also afraid to move forward because of what's behind her. She can't leave the planet because she was dropped off there, and her family's going to come pick her up. It's just an amazing dynamic. She's also a very, very good person. You can see that when she rescues BB-8. You can see that pretty much everywhere. When she's running away at Maz Kanata's castle, and she sees the Empire coming, and she runs back to go help out her friends. Rey is one of the best characters that I've seen in any Star Wars movie or novel. And honestly, she's like a really good, shining example for my daughters. And that's why I really like her. But let's move on to Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren is an immature crybaby. And it's what Anakin Skywalker should have been in the prequels. And I hate bringing up the prequels, but if Kylo would have played Anakin, that could have made a completely different prequel. I may have had a different opinion of Episode 2 and Episode 3. Kylo Ren is perfect. Or Adam Driver is perfect as a Kylo Ren or a Ben, whatever you want to call him, a Ben Solo. So what went better than expected? I'm going to start this off by saying Han Solo. And I said this in the non-spoiler review. When I see Han Solo, I don't see an old version of Harrison Ford. I see freaking Han Solo. That is Han Solo. Harrison Ford did an amazing job reprising his role that he was last cast in like 30 years ago. He was perfect. He was funny. He was crabby. He was perfect. And his death could be the most amazing movie moment I've experienced in my entire life. I compare this death to some of the twists that I've seen in some really awesome novels that I read by like Brandon Sanderson and Robert Jordan and all these guys. I was devastated, and I kind of knew it was going to happen. I had a lot of anxiety, and I think they filmed that scene perfectly. With the sun dying out just as right before Kylo Ren plunged that lightsaber into Han Solo's chest. It was amazing. But as amazing as this scene was, and this is why I rank Empire Strikes Back better than The Force Awakens. As amazing as that scene was, the panic and anxiety I felt was not nearly as much as when Han Solo got frozen in carbonite. Which says something. Han's dead. Okay, that sucks. Han gets frozen in carbonite. The world's about to end. Let's talk about Snoke. Supreme Leader Snoke is perfect. He's huge, but he's not because it's just a hologram. But even still, the way they presented Snoke, it gave me a sense of like dread. Like, who is this guy? Oh my God, our heroes have an uphill battle. I don't know if they're going to be able to make it. He's perfect. He is perfect. You don't get that from Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren looks like a little boy you can slap around and just move on. I mean, he can freeze he could freeze a blaster bolt in midair, which looks disturbingly similar to his lightsaber. I wonder if there's a relation there. All right, Han Solo and Chewbacca, their interactions, and this goes back to Han Solo and Harrison Ford and how he did a great job playing Han Solo. Their interactions were just amazing, and this is everything we've always wanted to see from Han Solo and Chewie. This is why we read the extended universe novels. Han Solo and Chewie on another adventure, defying the odds and completing the mission. And that's all I'm going to say about that, because I'm getting depressed because Han Solo died. Maz Kanata, as portrayed by Lupita, I can't pronounce her last name. She is probably one of my favorite characters that's not one of the main three characters. That scene where they go into the Force Awakens cantina scene, when she walks up to the bar, turns around and says, Han Solo! I knew right then and there I was going to love this character. I hope they put her in Episode 8. She is awesome. She is amazing. And Poe Dameron's first X-Wing scene. The first one, not when he's trying to escape and the X-Wing gets shot and he sends BB-8 off with the map to Skywalker and he gets captured. Not that scene. I'm talking about his first scene. Him and all his buddies are trying to help out Han Solo by attacking Maz Kanata's castle because it's been taken over by the First Order. That first scene where Finn's on the ground shooting stormtroopers and he's looking up, that is just amazingly choreographed. That was awesome. And I hope to see more of Poe Dameron, and I hope he doesn't die. I haven't heard anything about him dying, so don't worry about that. Also, the Falcon chase scene. I say a lot about how I don't like the X-Wing fighting scenes because of too much CGI, too cartoony. But the Falcon chase scene was awesome. It was Rey's first time in the cockpit. It was first time working with Finn while he was on the guns, and that was just amazingly done, and I love it. Finally, what went better than expected? BB-8. BB-8 has to take over for R2-D2. He's going to be the new droid. What I really liked about it is they weren't like, hey, you know what? Let's just make a BB-8 exactly like R2-D2. No, they didn't do that. They made him more of kind of like a toddler who kind of needed protection, but also could almost hold on to his own. You know what? Ain't no way R2-D2 is going to get on that Millennium Falcon with Rey and Finn. He can't keep up. BB-8, though, he's got some wheels, man. He got to that Millennium Falcon, no problem. And what's great about that is BB-8 ain't CGI. He is an actual robot that was created by the creators of this movie to actually function as a real robot. And that brings me to my last point. Gone are the days of just using CGI as a solution to your filming problems. These guys are making large-scale sets. They're making small, detailed scale models of ships. They're making this movie real. They're using puppeteering. They're using all kinds of great stuff to immerse the actors into the environment so that they do a better job acting, making us feel like that they are actually there. And that's why this movie is awesome. This movie is great. That's why it beats a lot of the other movies, and that's why it's not even anywhere close to the same level as the prequels, so don't even mention the prequels. But there you go. There's my Star Wars 7, The Force Awakens spoiler review. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Don't worry about leaving spoiler tags, because this has got spoiler already written on it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Adios. I got my glass of apple juice on the rocks. To Han Solo.